Trudy, I need you to... It's public now, please.
Yep. I'm going downstairs.
Just a minute, I need to project it. I need you to get the other thing, and I need to start broadcasting this.
Okay, it's 3:28 in the morning. I've been yanked out of bed to come down and make bone broth because we were on a call last night till well after 10. And for some reason, Brian wants his way. Always. I gotta find a tripod while I'm carrying 2 cameras. I have no bag, no nothing, because he didn't allow me to be prepared. Can't take much more of this. So sick and tired of this shit. I'm in the back. I'm in the back.
I know. That's not true. You said that I didn't get you prepared. You could have prepared last night. Both of us could have prepared last night. You gotta be careful with that. You will lose it. You know what I'm saying? You will lose it.
Yep, I will.
Listen to me. Please listen to me.
I'm listening.
Okay?
Walk and talk. I don't have time for this.
And why are we up in the morning? Why are we up?
I don't know, Brian. I don't know.
Because
it's always your way to get up early in the morning because you can't sleep. Everyone gets up.
Right.
It's the way it is.
And I don't know.
It's the way my life goes.
I do not know how to share this to the group now that it's already running.
You can share it as a viewer. As a viewer. There's a share button right here. There's a share button right here.
What?
I hate my life. I hate it. I hate everything. I hate everything. Gonna empty the dishwasher. Yes. What do you mean you can't see what I'm doing? You want me to focus down here on the dishwasher? There you go. Look. I'm emptying the dishwasher. Look at that. Wow. Isn't that exciting? What?
Are you serious?
Serious about what, Brian?
Are you serious?
I'm manning 2 cameras.
No, I know what it's like. Believe me. You need to put it across the way. You need it so it can get you.
So which one? Which one do you want over there?
Have you ever watched a movie?
No.
Trudy? Is
Not
that
a,
what you're saying?
not a reality TV show?
No, I'm saying a movie. A movie.
Yeah, I watched it.
Okay. I need you to have it look like a movie. So you have to get a table up here. The more people give up and do stuff and say they're going to do something and don't do it, this is what happens. It always happens this way. If people don't follow through, it gets worse for us. So you either do it there, and then you have to, look, watch what I'm doing. Watch what I'm doing. Watch what I'm doing. I've been doing this a while, okay? Look at what I'm, Trudy, look at what I'm doing.
Look at what I'm doing.
Okay, look, okay? Now you
So
gotta.
you're gonna have me on my back all the time, on my back.
I just showed you. You gotta put it somewhere else. If you have to move it one at a time, you move it at one at a time. This is what, I don't even know a name for this, but this is the table we have to use. One live, one not. So if something goes
See the share
wrong,
button there?
and then you go. Okay. I'll share it from upstairs. That's why I clicked. Okay, so here, when you're talking, you're trying to vent, you're upset, you're trying to explain your life, basically. Because just because a tree falls in the woods, and you don't hear it, doesn't mean it doesn't make a noise. So all these people that have, like Roger walks away, and it's harder on you. So it works for him.
Well, apparently it's hard on you because I don't complain about Roger.
So you don't think it's harder the more people give up on us?
I don't really give it a second thought.
I'm asking you a fair question. Does it get harder on us?
It gets harder on you, Brian.
So it doesn't get harder. Okay, good. By your words, you'll be acquitted, and by your words, you're condemned.
Because
okay.
I don't give it.
So it doesn't get harder for you. Good.
I don't give it a second
so
thought.
So life has not gotten harder. That's good to know.
My life is always hard. My life is always hard. I don't give it a second thought because when people do what they do, you're the one that gets upset, not me. I don't get upset. I just have to live with you being angry all the time. That's all. Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Trudy, listen to me. Please listen to me. I'm begging you. You've got to talk to the camera. You've got to do it. We can't do this. We're not going to make it unless people know someone out there cares. I have to believe someone cares. Maybe they don't. Maybe that's the truth. Maybe that's just the truth. That's scary. Very scary. But, okay, so where's the phones?
You're going to be in
Do you know
there.
what, Trudy, do you know where the phones are? You're not saying
It
anything.
should be on a charger.
Okay, but I can't find them. So I'll go man the cameras. Please go get 2 phones.
There's one
This
in
is
the
what
bath.
we're. Please go
There's
get
one in
2.
the bath.
Please go get 2 phones. Please. Please, I'm begging you. Because I can't find them. I've already looked. So Brian now shares it to Centerport Underground. Brian now has to make a day 132. That's right. Shoot. He has to go. See? She doesn't. Trudy disagrees with Brian. She doesn't acknowledge that things get worse the more people don't follow through. So did you find him?
There's one. There's one upstairs
See?
in the other room. That one was right there behind the door in the charger. And this
Why do you
is
have to go back there?
to get the other one.
Huh?
To get the other one.
So there's none upstairs. I find that.
Yes, there is. In the office.
Well, why didn't you get it then?
Because I couldn't get to it.
Okay, so I'm gonna have to talk to you because you're not engaging with the audience at all. So,
Why did you hang up?
because, why did I hang up? Because if you come near to me with that, it'll. Okay, I can't believe you asked me that, but go ahead. Pick it up. Pick it up. Pick it up. Pick it up. Now do you know why I hung up?
Mute it. Mute it. Mute it.
Okay. So, why didn't you just tell me?
Well, you said you had to hang up, and I'm telling you, you could just mute it.
Well, why didn't you mute it then? Why would you tell me to mute it?
Because you always want to hear what I'm saying, not what you're saying.
You didn't say, you never told me to mute it.
I asked you why you hung up. And you said
And I couldn't,
because of this.
again, because, yeah, exactly. I don't, you know why I hung up. You know why I hung up. So why do you ask a question when you know the answer? Now, we're going to have to, again. So I'm having problems getting online myself. Can you help me? I can't do this myself. I'm having a hard time, and I got to create. I can't. So I'm asking you for your help. Can you help me find the other phones and help me get set up on Periscope, the active phone, and get me up thing while I start to do this?
Man the cameras.
That's what I'm doing right now. That's why I'm here.
So what phones do you want?
I need the Active 8, and I need a tripod, I need a bag, and I need things. And now I've got to now go in and create all the threads for the day. Which is the harder part. Shoot. And Brian and Trudy were up early because the people that were paying, they didn't understand, but they weren't participating, you know. So every time people don't participate, they would have to go public, and they would only go public long enough to get someone then to go underground, and they would have all more underground. But there was a lot of pressure with a lot of Brian didn't know how to turn. There was, again, you would just have to watch their life unfold, and you determine what was reality. You know, people could walk away from Brian and Trudy, but every time they did that, because they didn't like the reality, yeah, they agreed. They didn't like their life either. Brian didn't like his life. Trudy didn't like her life. He already heard her say it. She hates your life. Yeah, Brian, you know, yes, I agree. So and they were at day 132. And this is what really bothered Brian. People saying things that they won't recall. They don't, 28 minutes ago, people would lie. See, did not answer. Laura, I mean, this is bad stuff. See, I just can't stand when people say things that they don't follow through on. Laura, you told me to call you, but I think I called you and I've never known you to answer yet. Period. Okay, so I've never known Laura to answer ever. And she says, why don't you call me? Well, that's why I don't call you, Laura. That's why I don't call you. Because you never answer. You never answer. I've never known you. I mean, have you ever answered ever? And every time I don't understand. Why do you even say that? Brian would always call people to account to what they say. Hold them by their words. Some people are smart enough not to say anything or commit to anything, but just us. And then we'd have personal threads. Just us. Trudy, here, I'm going to move this camera in there with you, the stationary camera. Trudy, here, take this with you. Trudy, take this with you.
I don't know where the tripods are.
They're all in the office. They're all in the office.
Okay, am I turning this around?
You're manning the camera. I'm just giving it to
I'm
you.
staying here now.
You found a tripod?
No, I didn't. I think they're all in the back.
I-
I'm gonna hope they're
Trudy,
good.
you didn't hear me. Trudy, listen to me. Look at me. Look at me. They're up in the office. I just
Alright,
told you
I
that.
was just there.
Look at you're the whiteboard. There's 3 right in a row. I knew where they were. I just didn't know where anything else was. As you can see, I've tried to call you 3 times and you've never answered. You always ask me, why don't I contact you? This is why I don't contact you, because you never answer me. Period. You were active 28 minutes ago, and you noticed that we were active, I could assume, but you're not responding. And it wouldn't be bad, but anyway, I don't know what to say, period. Okay, so what would happen is everybody would pull away, and then it would be just poor pressure. And you could give excuses, you could say whatever, you could say, but everyone had their own excuse. One would want to do this, one would have to do this, one would have to do this. So let's see if Ed is, then. Okay.
You're gonna have to handle them from here.
I don't know what you're doing. I mean, this.
You wanted the
What?
tripod.
How did you? Yeah, don't give them to me. I can't do
excuse
anything.
me,
I didn't ask you for 3 tripods. I said I asked.
Battery.
Trudy, I asked. Oh my God. I asked if you could help me set up for Periscope.
There you go.
Where? Where is it?
I put them on the table.
Trudy. Okay. I need the active setup with a bag, with a thing. I told just like. So you see this? You see that? Show them the bag. Show them the bag. Show them this. This is what I need. Exactly what this, but with my phone with the Activate on it. That's what I need. Again, I would put you on Threads, but you don't know how to create this.
Can't create it because you have to be the creator. You have to do all the administrative work. Forget that.
Okay, so now I'm going to ask you. So you're available. That's good. So how come you're okay? What are you working on right now? What's going on?
Right now, just putting on some clothes.
Okay.
What are you doing?
Well, we've been online for about 30 minutes, just to let you know. And this is what's causing problems when you guys keep. Well, I'm sorry.
I didn't even notification the phone wasn't next to me.
Yeah. Yeah. The only problem is no one else is either, and everyone else is saying something different. So we're having to go public. We're going to go on Periscope now. She's on YouTube. I'm going to have to go on Periscope, and we're having to do more and more. There's a lot of things changing. I'm going to have to explain some things that are changing. We're going to have Pam lead her core. You want to lead something, go ahead, or whatever else. We're going to have separate ones because we got to start building up something different. It doesn't work. We've got to keep evolving it. There's less activity and less participation now, and you can't say because can't blame everything on Brian. Do you know what I'm saying? You can't. No, I'm saying you. I'm saying anybody.
No, that's not your fault. That's not your fault. There's no participating.
Okay.
People are disappearing, it's true.
People are disappearing, right? Exactly. So they pay their money.
Active, I should say it's not as active as what they were. They're not materially active.
Well, where are they at all? I mean,
I mean, I know Julie's sleeping, I'll tell you that was hours and hours and hours ago when she was sleeping. That's all I can tell you about her. I don't know about anything else, anyone else. The last person I spoke to was you guys on the phone, that's it.
okay.
I don't know where all that's up to.
Okay, and you gotta understand, the thing with Julie is that she won't do what she's, like, if I ask her to do something, she never does it. But she does these random things, and she says, this is the reason. This is the reason, but you watched it. Have you even watched the video that she did?
Actually, I've watched half, and you know, it's funny that I sent her a message, but obviously she doesn't see that. But I actually sent her a message and I asked her, what made you pick that video? Because I'll tell you, it had meaning to me, that video. But I asked her, why did you pick that video? I'm curious, basically. I said, because that actually had meaning to me, that video. And where did you find it? Was my next question, which I believe was in your mind. Where did you reach the other
Call my
accounts that you
video
found it?
stop.
Well, just start it real quick.
Going to, it was still there.
That's why you have 2 videos going. See, that's why you gotta turn this off. We gotta turn off. Are you on, make sure, are you on the right, which one do you wanna be on? Which one do you wanna be on? Think of what phone you wanna be on. You're on a 3-hour video.
I don't know what you told me.
Well, no, Trudy, think it through. I don't know your phone. I have enough problems with my
Brian,
own. I got 4, you've
Brian,
got 3.
It's an S7, the rest are 8s, and then I have a 5.
Okay, but one's on Verizon, one's on T-Mobile.
But I'm on Wi-Fi, so it doesn't matter which
Trudy,
one.
listen to me. No, it's not. You got calls, you got all sorts of things. You'll be on here until 6 o'clock in the morning on this video. Like, I use my Note 7. So, obviously, that's not going to be used anywhere. Thank God I
The
have
other
that
one
one.
is on the charger, so I have to use this one.
Good point. Some of the best decisions, some of the greatest decisions
So
they had to
I'll
make.
put this on airplane mode.
And then try to tell what happened. And I think that's weird that a messenger call would interrupt a video.
Well, it went out for the call, then it came back on, and I was back on camera. I was putting that one together,
But
I went
notice
back,
it
and it was
didn't-
gone.
But YouTube allowed you to go back in, so that's good to know that YouTube, because the same thing happens with Facebook.
I'm sure on Facebook, you know that.
Okay, so the problem that we're running into is, there's less and less activity, and so we're gonna have, the more that happens,
And
we've got
everybody has remarked about that on YouTube.
every.
Our people, friends of Centerport, have said, yeah, you're right, there's not very many people around.
So how is okay? That doesn't make sense. Everyone has remarked. Then that would mean that we have 100% participation. So why are we complaining that no one's active anymore?
No, we're just saying that there doesn't seem to be as much traffic as there used to be.
Right.
And you've already
And
marked
see,
it.
this is what happens. This is why when you guys allow yourself to have all this back channel communication, this is what happens.
I don't know that channel with communication with anyone. I don't expect it to anyone from it because you did it. The girl I talked to in the morning when I talked to her. That's pretty much what I do. I don't talk to anyone else.
Okay. Well, maybe if you guys had coffee together with everyone else, that
So
might.
anyway,
What I'm saying is, the more.
Brian did a Facebook Messenger call and it lost my last video, so I'm back up. Your camera's in there, already on a tripod with a battery.
Thank you. And I believe me or not, I do not want to be. I'll go get out of your way. I do not want to be.
Okay, and I can't take 2 cameras while I'm getting pots and all that kind of stuff.
That's why you turn the camera. Just like I do. I have to do it all the time. You put it on the table. You put no, honey. Listen to me. Look, I've
I'm
developed.
barely
this-
awake and you're
True.
telling me I should know this and that and the other thing.
And you know what? And everybody says you need to treat Trudy better. And
Yes,
everything
you
like
do.
Yes, but then they're not helping. Because the more they
Not
don't.
their fault, Brian.
Trudy, and then so turn it like
You
this.
married me for better or for worse,
Exactly. You said
and
it.
I'm worse.
Okay, so now turn it and then go in there and just say, I'm just getting a pot.
Yes, Mr. Producer Man.
No, it's like you're on house arrest, okay? And if that's not cruel
I'm
and
already on house
if that's
arrest.
not cruel and unusual
That
punishment,
is unusual punishment.
well then all the police officers, everybody that do that to people, then they need to be charged. with a crime.
No, I mean placing me under house arrest when I haven't done anything.
A lot of them haven't done anything either. So
Brian, you always have an answer for everything. By your words, you'll be condemned. By your words, be acquitted.
that's reversed.
I know. Like I said. By your words, you'll be condemned. So, pot, bone broth.
Judy. Okay.
Just so you know, Tess, Brian got me up at 3 a.m. to come and make bone broth because we were on a call last night till getting close to 11 o'clock with Pam. So,
Yeah.
he pulled me out of bed at
Well,
3
not only
a.m.
that, you left, and also she left too. So we were left again with one person. We couldn't even last an hour with 4 people. And again, this is why we're going to try to find out teams. Everybody's going to be in charge of setting up a 4-member team, or not a 4-member. You can invite one other person. Well, you can't invite Julie because she can't. She doesn't follow through. So you got to pick. What? Not in a core. She can't be in a core because she can't. She's not core material. She just can't.
Let's just listen, because this is always a problem. Let's just let Julie be Julie. Let's just let Julie come on the way time comes.
It's fine. It's fine. 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 Fine with me. Fine. Fine with me. I do.
Yeah, it takes pressure off everybody, I think, that way.
That's fine. It's fine. Okay? You're the one that told me that she wanted to be, that she cared and all that. That's what you said. So you put more pressure on her, not me, because you're telling me one thing and it's not true. Okay? Because if she did care,
She's there. She's there every day. She doesn't care.
but in her own way, she doesn't want to do
Can you
anything.
remove yourself from my kitchen, please?
But you said she never does anything right, so what's the point of like trying to do it?
Oh, is that what you really? Okay, see, I can't be. I gotta have witnesses on this. Is that really what you believe? She doesn't. Okay.
You said that she
I told her to talk. I told her to talk in third person. She has to talk in third person.
Brian, don't yell, please.
we all knocked that out, bro. I thought you said you weren't going to let her over. We all knocked it out.
Judy, I need your help. I'm getting so flustered. I need to be on Periscope.
Go ahead.
I need your help. I can't.
For
find-
what? For what?
To label it and then do the titling and everything like that.
Oh, Brian, you do
I
it
s-
every day.
Oh my God. And sometimes I go live without doing anything.
Yeah, you do.
Judy, please! I'm asking for your help! Okay? Do I have to get mad? Damn it!
I don't know. Can I get in your thread? Can I get?
I don't know. I can't think straight.
I know how that is.
I'm still trying to figure out how to create the day thread.
I told you before. Take a copy and pull it over, and then just change the days.
It's true. That is what you said.
I
Okay, that's
did.
right. That's what you said. I'm going to do it right now. See, this is what I do. I have people connect together, then they become friends, and then they leave us, which is amazing. It's just a great. I'm so glad we're such a matchmaker for so many people. Well, you're definitely not at the same
Labeling.
capacity you used to be.
I'm
That's
not-
a fact. Yes.
Brian,
No, but you're online with her. You're not doing
I am
anything you
probably
used to
not
do,
in the same capacity either.
which is just like a fact. It's a fact. It's just not happening.
It is.
Okay, then don't tell me what you're gonna, don't tell me one thing. I know that you're probably just a time period. I told you that when we first met.
Brian, stop being so friggin' rude all the time.
I don't think it's rude. Not every day. That's not true. That's not a true statement. You're not at day every day.
Brian, why
The
would
day
people
that Trudy
want-
went to work for 3 days, that we needed you there. No, I'm just, you can't even give one example.
Yeah, that was true. But,
It wasn't the only time. I'm just giving you one example. I don't have them all listed. You are. You're there every time I call, just like Johnny D was. You're available every time I call you. You're available every time I call you. Well, that's what I said. I told you. I was honest with Johnny D. I said, you know. Yeah? Well, see, I'm preoccupied because I've got to find someone that's going to join me on Periscope now because you won't now. See what I'm saying? I have to keep finding friends that say they're going to do one thing and they don't follow through. Because you say you're there, but I need someone on Periscope. And you won't do it. And I think, you know why I think you won't do it? Because I think you're one way to some people on Periscope and you're another way to me. That's why. It is. It is why.
Brian, I need you guys to take it somewhere else because
I'm doing it once I get on Periscope.
I'm going to do my broadcast.
I gotta do it on
Periscope. You're in the kitchen yelling and ruining my broadcast.
Okay.
The problem is you're going to be out there yelling and ruining my
Just
broadcast.
a minute, Trudy. I need to. Just a minute, Tess. Just a minute, Tess. I gotta. Just because.
I'm going to get some meat.
Judy, do you need help with? Do you need help? Just tell me. You can't afford to do this. You've got to pick it up or something like that. Okay? I know we don't have I don't want a professional crew.
Why is it turned towards you?
Because I thought you said you were going to get meat.
Yeah.
You were moving this.
I was turning the cameras that way so they could see me go in the pantry.
And saw the wall, from what I could tell.
Brian, you're treading on very thin ice this morning.
Oh, really? I'm treading on thin ice.
So you get me up at 3 o'clock and insist I have to go do Bromar.
So right now it says there's 2 people here. But will anyone say who's here? It's 3 in the morning.
Brian, leave my broadcast alone.
No, I'm just saying.
I don't care.
People.
I don't care.
Judy, I'm narrating. There needs to be a better platform that doesn't allow people to anonymously watch. That's a problem. Day 132. Shoot. Crap, it's Saturday.
I already labeled it. I changed it.
Trudy, you told me to copy. I keep forgetting. That's why I don't do copying, I guess, because I always forget some part of it. Saturday, May 12th, 2018, week 19, Q Spring. Trudy, okay. If you're going to be back and forth, I need to reposition it, and you need to tell them what you're doing.
I'm going because Brian's in the kitchen, yang. I'm going to get stuff here.
But Trudy, the way you were going to do it last night this is not the way you were going to do it, was it?
Because I was going to have everything ready and then turn on the camera and this is something different. Going to have everything ready and then turn on the camera after I got the kitchen cleaned up. And then you were the one that started the broadcast before you got downstairs. So it's tainted. Did I not do it correctly?
You gotta turn it around.
Did I not do it correctly when I relabeled your Periscope?
I'm so worried about the day thread right now. I can't get it right. Okay?
You asked me to get you on Periscope.
Judy, I haven't. Oh my God. You see what happens, Tess? This is what happens. The more that this keeps happening, the more that even our group does it, puts more pressure on Trudy and me now.
It does. Yeah, it puts pressure. Of course it does. It puts pressure on me too.
Yes.
Because I'm the only one there to deal with everything. And if something goes wrong, you scream at me. So it puts pressure on me too.
I can't think of what I'm doing half the time. What?
Well, I'm waiting for this to boil. And I need you out of the kitchen.
Trudy,
Okay, so I'm making bone broth. I'm just boiling some water and putting it in a big pot.
you just did. Oh, it's 4:04.
Because it's still the 3 o'clock hour, I figured you probably need to start after 4.
Second shift. E 32, 54. Okay.
Okay. So I've got this pot here, and I'm just bringing water to a boil. And it's 2 gallons worth.
Okay, we're going live at 04:04, Saturday, May 12th, 2018. You're able to jump. Trudy is on live on. Who is that? Who is that just said that?
I don't know. That's why.
So does anyone know how you read comments on YouTube? Does anyone understand? Tess, do you know how to do that?
Says, hello, Trudy. Tough morning. Yes, Tom. Tom is on.
Okay, so you guys can
I'm
jump.
making bone broth, Tom.
So-
just starting to boil some
Can you
water.
at least share the thread to share the thing of Periscope to oh shoot to
Which parents that you want?
So I'm making some beef bone broth, and I'm using broth bones from Sunny Farms.
I'm so confused.
It's natural beef bones.
Okay, let's get out of Trudy's way. Okay.
So anyway, just so you know, Brian got me out of bed at 3 a.m. to come and make bone broth. I was going to do it last night. We were on a group call.
Yeah, but you can
till
come
11
ask
o'clock.
Brian why he did that if you
So
can't
maybe
know
you
the
can
answer.
go over to see Brian if you want to.
I find it interesting that
If you want to stress
guys-
out, go over there.
Guys watch my wife and my girls watch my wife. I find that interesting. So can you share this? Can you share this to?
So I have about
See
11
what I'm saying?
pounds.
That doesn't help me. Okay, I don't know what that count is. Trudy, can you help us? Just stop following all my other counts. Can you please help me with this?
What am I supposed to do?
Okay, I need us this shared wherever this is. I can't even think straight. This is why everybody keeps changing it.
Brian, don't ruin my bone
Okay,
broth.
I'm sorry.
first.
I'm sorry. Okay, can you please help me with this, please?
What do you need?
She doesn't know where it is. I'm so confused.
And what do you want?
I need to
Periscope?
share. Do you know how to share? Let me see if I can do it from
Are you
here.
in Periscope?
Yes, I'm in the Periscope.
Okay, then go to.
Oh, here it is. Never mind. I went in here. Let me try to see it. I'm in Burning Bushel here. So share.
Share broadcast. And then scroll over. Right there, share. Sorry, guys.
Shit! Damn it! I can't. And now it's printing. It just does it. This is my. What does it? I hate that phone. This stuff always happens, and you gotta keep this on us at all
Brian.
times.
You wouldn't stop interrupting me. Share. Messenger.
I did try to do that. I'm saying my fingers. Okay, so we need to go.
You can do it from here. Anyway, Tom, I'm.
You see what I'm saying? See what I'm saying,
I'm
Tess?
making bone broth.
When you quit on this, it puts more pressure on both of us.
Okay, first of all, I'm just going back here to turn off some lights, so if you want to keep an eye out.
Oh my gosh, Tess, don't start me there, please, Tess. I don't have time for that, okay? I don't have time for that. No, I don't have time. Tess, I don't have time for that, okay? I don't have time for that. You can't.
Brian, you're ruining my broadcast. You're ruining my broadcast. If you're gonna yell, go upstairs.
Seriously, it's gonna come back.
So, I have about 11.5 pounds of the grass-fed beef bones.
So I'm gonna bring bushel.
And I'm starting 2 gallons of water. So, I put these in first. So,
Trudy, we're on burning bushel. I'm not even on my account.
I don't know where you are, Brian. You just asked me.
Trudy, I'm on burning bushel.
Well, you started broadcasting.
I know, I'm on the wrong channel.
Okay.
I thought it was on Funding Reality.
Oh.
So we're gonna have to get a bigger table. We gotta get a bigger table. Who's on the other couch? Again, the more people that stop, the more we have to work hard
Brian.
around the clock. I'm just saying.
You can't blame your problems on everybody else. Just admit that you have challenges and it's not their fault. Anyway, Tom, not a good morning, as usual. I also have some marrow bones too, so make sure you get some marrow. So what I do is I start the water first boiling, and it's going to be 2 gallons in this big pot, and it's going to actually simmer for 72 hours. So anyway, this is not how I would have done this. I would have done it with quiet and nothing else starting this. But as is Brian's way, he has to start things before it's time. So this particular broadcast will be somewhat unusual. And I can hear him in the background up there.
Okay, prove it. Prove it. Oh, I don't know about that. See, you must have saw something because you heard me say closet front, so you must. So, Trudy, do you know where the big table is so I can put this down? Oh, here it is. I mean, look at Roger. Roger, too. I mean, he doesn't. Again, Roger. I mean, all these people just keep giving up, and the more they give up, the more they can see. This is what I never said. They walk out of our life. They walk out of our life. And they can walk away, but I can't walk away my life. Trudy can't walk while she can. She chooses to stay. And so it puts pressure on everyone else. Yeah, and I do appreciate that. I mean, look at what, again, you know? Well, that's not gonna. I'm sorry, Tessa. If you want that kind of relationship, I can't give it to you. Seriously, because I call out people. I call.
Be in front of your own people, not the fucking world.
Well, yeah, but the problem is no one's online. Whoops, that's the wrong one. Sorry. I'm trying to switch this out. She needs a big table. I need the small one. It's very hard to manage. Okay. So thanks for you're doing a great job, honey. It just keeps getting worse and worse for us. You know?
I'm fine.
No, I'm saying our life, honey, our life. Our life keeps getting worse.
Yeah. And your ass is my ass too, because I'm involved in your life. Very much so. So, and it's me too. So you think I don't want anyone else online too? Of course I want them to participate in your life.
Shoot, I keep forgetting what I'm doing, Trudy. Can you help me understand what I'm doing? I'm so
You were
lost.
labeling so you could start a live broadcast.
No, we did this so I could have three on
Well, and I
here.
don't know about that because I'm trying to cook.
So you have 3 here. You're on Periscope, you're on Static. You could almost do your lives here, I'm not sure.
Why am I on 3 things?
Because I went on the wrong Periscope.
So you have me on Periscope too.
Yes, you're on Periscope, on Burning Bushel. Yes, on Burning Bushel. So just think you have 3 people here. Okay, just think of it, 3 people. Okay? I gotta get on the other Periscope. Shoot.
Okay, for those of you just joining, it's 4:15 in the morning here in Washington. I'm making bone broth because I didn't get it done last night, so that's why I'm up here this morning. Because it takes 72 hours for this to cook before it can be taken off. And then sits overnight in the freezer, and then the excess fat comes off. And then the rest of it's heated and canned or boiled.
Sure you didn't.
Yes, Tom says this must be exhausting every day. Yes, it is, Tom. Yes, it is. It never was always this bad, just in recent weeks and months, just this year. Not sure why. So I went to one of our local, more organic food stores yesterday on my way home from Port Angeles and picked up what I needed. So generally I do this about once a quarter, but I noticed the last time I did this was 72 days ago. So Brian goes in segments where he drinks sometimes more bone broth than usual, and usually when he's not doing well, he tends to drink more bone broth. It's supposed to have healing powers and everything else. So I don't drink it. I don't put it in soups or anything. It's just strictly we make it, and he just drinks his bone broth with some. He adds some sea salt to it. So there's 3 cameras running here. One is just a stationary or static camera. One is YouTube, and one is Periscope. And Brian had accidentally set up the wrong account. And this one particular one's blurry. I'm assuming that's because the camera lens is dirty. And I'm sorry, I don't have anything to clean it with. But they're having to turn all these cameras. So give me 1 second. I'm cleaning. Since this is not my camera. Alright, that's better. Okay, for those of you joining, and I think someone just did, on Periscope. Actually, that is Periscope, yes. I am making grass-fed beef bone broth. It's a 72-hour cook. Right now I'm just boiling up 2 gallons of water. And I have about between 11 and 12 pounds of bones, broth bones in here. And it's about 4:19 in the morning here in Washington State on the West Coast. Just waiting for, I just have a little less than half a gallon still to boil. I've got some in here. I use this kettle, which is a Hamilton Beach. It cooks up, or it boils up pretty quickly. And I find that if I have a good head start on the water for the broth, it makes a big difference. So the bones take out just about half of this pot. And normally I would have all my ingredients out and ready to go and stuff set up to do it, but this morning started kind of abruptly, and so nothing is prepared, and these broadcasts should not have started before I was ready, but it's not the way here at our house. So I need to figure out how I'm going to cut up the vegetables so that you guys can see. And I can't pause anybody, so I'm kind of stuck here entertaining. So if you want to go get a coffee or whatever, feel free to move about the cabin. As soon as I get this taken care of, I'll make room here and I'll probably chop vegetables from here. I normally would have a big table set out and I would do it over here. Gosh, it's so warm. Open. Anyway, I'm barely awake, so. But this bone broth does take 72 hours once it starts simmering. So it's putting it on and taking it off has to be planned. And I planned to do this last night, but we got on a call. A conference call on Facebook, and everything kind of went sideways in the fact that it was now almost 11 o'clock, so I didn't feel like I was up for, I was going to see Tom, but Tom said something, no. Oh, this is because Brian's doing stuff on his end, sending messenger notifications. Okay. So the nice thing about this is that it turns off once it boils. By the time I get everything in there, it pretty much is boiling because it's got all the cold from the vegetables and the bones and stuff. So that's 2 gallons of water. I pre-started. Oh gosh. And probably what I should do. I need a coffee desperately. Want to get this going. So I'm just going to get my recipe. This is just the empty meat containers. So starting with 11, it's actually about 11.5 pounds of beef bones. So 10 carrots. And this is all stuff that I got from Sunny Farms yesterday. We got celery and garlic. And just give me a moment, I've got to go into the pantry and get the other bag of vegetables. And I have leeks. And somewhere are my onions. Huh. All right, give me another second. Okay, I'm not exactly sure what I did with my onions, but I may have put them right here. And I did. Alright, so what I have in the recipe is I've got 10 carrots. I counted them out, 10 medium-sized carrots. I've got 3 to 4 medium leeks. I got 4. I like leeks. And I need 3 garlic heads, full heads of cloves. I need 8 stalks of celery. And need to get bay leaves, which I have in the fridge. So bay leaves, I need 16 of these. I need 8 tablespoons of peppercorns. Like that. So 8 tablespoons of peppercorns, which I already had weighed out at the market. And 6 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. And what did I say? Onions. 6 medium onions. So what is it I need? Then cider vinegar. So apple cider vinegar. And apple cider vinegar. Okay, it's getting close to boiling. So 2 full gallons of spring water. I'm using filtered water today. I'm just waiting for this to boil so that I can get rid of this container and have some workroom here. Yeah, you realize that peppercorns are $28 a pound. Alright, so this is the last. I'm just using this to pre-boil the water. Just makes it start quicker because everything is so cold. This is going to fill up really quickly. I see it's starting to boil already. So this is going to make about 22 12-ounce jars, and we bottle it in mason jars, 12-ounce, wide mouth, and then freeze them. But it takes 72 hours to simmer, but then after it's done and been strained, and strain it 3 or 4 times, like the bulk straining of all the major, remnants of vegetables and bones and stuff. Once the first strain, second strain, I do about 3 strains. And then it goes back into one of these containers and goes in the freezer. In kitchen, yes. Goes in the freezer, making bone broth, people. Then it goes in the freezer overnight, and then the fat will form a layer, and it'll be solid. And then that fat layer comes off, and then the rest of it's heated and then bottled. And I use, just give me a second here. And I use wide mouth mason jars. And fill it to 12 ounces. So it gets filled up to about here. And I have one in the fridge from the old batch. I make this about every 2 months. And the old batch, so this one actually is still frozen somewhat. This is the last of the last batch, which was made 73 days ago. So you can see that it's still quite solid because I just took it out of the freezer last night and put it in the fridge. You can actually, as long as you can get this out of the jar, you can put it into a stainless steel, I use stainless steel pots, and heat this up just to the boiling point, and then we add a little bit of, or my husband does anyway, I don't drink it, a little bit of sea salt, about an eighth of a teaspoon, to 12 ounces. Heat it to boiling. Don't ever put it in the microwave because it does break down the properties. And then he would drink it just like this. So it's supposed to be good for collagen and has a lot of medicinal properties. So anyway, this whole thing will make about 22 jars. And I think in the beginning we went usually about 3.5 months to make it, and we're just a little over 2 months now. 2 months, 2.5 months. So I usually do my vegetables in order. I don't just chop them all up and then put them in. I just start doing it. I'm going to keep one of these bags so that I have a lot of excess, which I'll put here. So probably I'll put the harder vegetables in first, like usually I start with carrots. But what I could do is I could start putting the bay leaves in. So there's, I believe it was 16 of these. So 16 bay leaves, I'll get this started, and it's already boiling. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, small one, 16, yeah. Okay. Just gonna turn this down a little bit. And let's see.
I'm trying to get the dawn record. I was hoping she would get that done before she would do, but I'm glad she's doing that.
So I'll give each of you a gander. YouTube, this is where we're at right now. And you can see just the bones right now with 2 gallons of water and some bay leaves. And Periscope, and again, we are making bone broth. And right now, we have just the bones and bay leaves and 2 gallons of water, spring water, but I'm using actually filtered water. And for the static camera, again, beef bones, grass-fed beef bones, 2 gallons of water, and 16 bay leaves. Okay, so we're getting ready to do put the vegetables in. And this is going to take 72 hours to simmer once everything is said and done. I'll turn you this way a little bit so you can see. Normally I would have a big table set up here, but kind of constricted today. So get one of my brushes. Use a brush that actually has, it's got a steel base in it. So it makes it easier to scrub the carrots. Put the stuff on the other side here. I usually do the garlic last because it's the hardest thing to work on. This thing's blurring. Okay, so I'm just going to wash these carrots with this brush. I'm not going to peel them because a lot of the nutrients are already in the peel, so I don't want to give them a good scrub. And that's 10 of them. And the market that I get these from is most of their vegetables and foods are on the organic line. Their meats and everything, that's where I get the beef bones that are grass-fed beef. So give them just a pretty good scrub to get any dirt off of them. And forgive me if I don't see your comments. And those of you coming in, we're making 72-hour beef bone broth. Has a lot of medicinal properties if you look it up. Rich in collagen, good for the skin. But it has medicinal properties too, which is why I make it for my husband, who has some challenges. And you can use this as well as a soup stock. has been rinsed, it's just as it is. We, people use the word canning, and we actually bottle it in mason jars, wide mouth mason jars, which apparently you can't, you're not supposed to freeze in the standard mason jar because there's a risk that the bottle could break. I think it's more about expansion and everything else, surface area. So we freeze it, we bottle it in about 12-ounce servings. So we're going to cut this into larger chunks. I'm just going to get a knife here. I can already smell the beef bones. I'm going to use one of these bags just for the excess. And if I had a dog, that'd be a wonderful treat for them. I don't know if your dogs like carrots and vegetables and that sort of thing, but my dogs certainly did. They would lay in wait for something to drop. So I'm just taking off just a little bit at the ends to get where the stem was. And I'm going to cut these in just really big segments. I say about an inch or so. I'm not even sure what size mine are cut into, because all of this stuff is going to be removed at the end. Everything will be strained out, so all of the remnants. But a lot of this stuff cooks down quite a bit, and I never stir.
Can I show you this? Can you just, I want to show you something.
Okay.
So, where I'm showing her something underground here, or something not underground, but
Okay, guys, I'll be right back. We're just making beef bone broth. Hold on.
you see how your view here is really great? And that view has got the camera and stuff, and
Okay.
see what I'm saying?
Okay.
So you might want to, when you put that down, you might want to move accordingly. The YouTube is perfect, but the other one,
Oh,
Periscope,
I see it. Okay, we are boiling quite nicely here. And that'll help those bones to settle down a little bit. I'm going to turn it down about halfway.
There you go.
Just going to get a bowl to put the cut up vegetables in.
Final station I like to watch. Yeah, sure, public, on public, on Periscope.
Okay,
and
So I cut them in kind of really big chunks. And I'm getting cut off my head here on Periscope. Sorry, guys. So I'm cutting these in fairly large chunks because, again, it doesn't become part of the broth. It's just there for the flavor. And I just do it in the big chunks they're going to be. And actually, I might just rinse those once more before I put them in. So just big segments. Again, it's only there for flavor. And these will cook down, a lot of them. Well, these are fairly good and fresh. So. Like I said, I'm going to just rinse these once more time because I'm getting a little bit, looks like a little bit of colored juice off of them. I don't know if it's a little bit of dirt combined with the juice of the carrot. But I'll do, it could be just the skins. But because we don't peel them, there will be some. But they've been washed with a brush that has a steel core. Okay. So 10 carrots. And looking like this. Yes, Trudy's making bone broth. So that's 10 carrots. I'm going to just rinse these one more time. And again, I don't want to lose all the goodness. I just want to clear water. So now I'm going to put this into, and the beef bones are boiling, so I'll just put those in. And once I get everything in here, I'll do one stir and it'll never touch it again for the 72 hours. It'll sit and simmer on a very low setting, just enough so that I can see it bubbling at the surface, and that's it. And what I've learned is that the less that we manipulate the meat, I say meat, the bone broth itself, like the vegetables or anything, the less that we manipulate and stir and all that, the better the bone broth seems to be, and the cleaner it actually filters. I don't know who wrote there, but some of the goodness.
So it's the goodness, it's just carrots, and we're washing them, takes the goodness. You hear me, honey?
Yeah, I don't know what that means.
I think what they mean is a lot of the goodness is on the peel.
From the skin, right, which is what I said, you know. Okay, so we've got the 10 carrots, and I'm gonna do the leeks now. And I don't know about you guys, but one of my favorite soups is a potato leek soup. Sorry, someone said something on YouTube, so I'm just gonna see what it was. Trudy, if you have a recipe, I will timestamp it into this video. Yeah, and I'll do the recipe at the end. I did it a little bit earlier, but I'll do the recipe at the end. We can catch it as we go, but at the end I'll actually go through it again and let you know what the ingredients are. So right now I've got 4 leeks, kind of meat. I got 2 larger, 2 smaller, because it's about 3 to 4 medium leeks. So again, and what I do with these is I take off, I cut the bottom where the root is, and I usually peel the first segment and possibly the second. I'm just looking for dirt. So I got still a little bit of dirt. I find that if I peel off 1 or 2, I look inside and make sure that there's no other dirt. And I have a bag going here with my vegetable pieces. And I don't have a composter, which is sad. But again, and if you guys are talking, I have my back to you, I'll check in. So I'm going to do two of these segments, and these just peel off. And then I'll cut the ends of the root off. These younger ones, smaller. I think I'll just take one. And again, I don't use the really dark green portions. I cut up to pretty much about just where I'm coming, where it starts to open up. That's about as far as I go. And again, cutting big chunks, just like I did on the carrots. And as you say, one of my favorite soups is potato leek. And this one actually got some dirt. take off a second layer. Now again, these vegetables do not remain in the broth once it's done. It all gets strained out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it in some good healthy sized segments. And I'm only going to go so far up. And actually, it still looks pretty good up here, so I'm going to cut a few more segments. I'll take this off. Still pretty tender, so I'm going to cut a little bit more.
Yeah, that's was, yeah. Where's I'm lost. I can't. Try not to bother Trudy. I cannot find my phone. Oh, that's right. You're using it. What am I thinking? Are you using my phone? You know, you don't have this plugged in. Let me think. Let me get a cord for you.
So as I said, we are on YouTube. We are on Burning Bushel Periscope.
And you can jump to the front door, and we're on you can see the sunrise on my YouTube channel. The sunrise is coming up. We need this all for the book we're writing, so.
I always just do usually one last rinse of particularly the root vegetables. Okay, so this is 4 cut up medium-sized leeks, and you can see I make them actually fairly good size. And again, they will be strained out of the bone broth.
Yeah, but I can't copy from there. I can't copy from there. So it's.
And I just going to kind of level these out a bit. It'll be pretty colorful once I get everything in there. I can see that it's already starting to smell and
Wait, is that my YouTube?
no, it's my YouTube.
Oh, Periscope, that's right.
It's your Periscope. Remember you went on Burning Bushel and you weren't going to.
That's right.
Okay, so.
That's wonderful. 1, 2.
So far, just to recap, we've got I got about 11.5 pounds of the bone broth, bones that are used for making bone broth, and some marrow bones, grass-fed beef. And we've now added 10 medium-sized carrots. We've done 4 leeks, and now it's time for the onions. So I'm going to do 6 medium onions. And so I'm just using regular yellow onions because I always find that they have a lot of flavor. And the one thing that does not go into this is we do not put salt. The salt is seasoned after. And actually I got an extra onion for myself, but I will. And depending, it's just medium size, but I'm going to, I'll see what size these are. I think these are all actually pretty big. 3, 4, maybe a big one. So that would be about 6 medium onions. They're quite large. And I'll just keep these other 2. And I had actually got extra anyway because for other cooking. So here we go. These are going to be fun. I'm just going to cut these in wedges. Just cut this in half. And get the rest of the peel. So I always take off the brown peel and usually 1 layer down. of like that layer that if you were to make, you know, anything with onions, it would be kind of tough, so. For now, I'm just gonna toss it in this bowl. And I'm usually pretty frugal in how many containers and things that I use, so I tend to use pretty much the same tools throughout, and makes my cleanup a lot easier. So, and these onions are really quite fresh. They're not old by any means. And this one layer seems to be a little on the tough side, so I'm gonna take it off. Get the skin off of that one. Now they say this is no laughing matter, this is no crying matter, because these onions are just starting to get to my eyes. This makes it easier to take the skins off once you cut them. And I'll cut these down further once and all these do is to flavor the broth. And this broth would be really good too to make a soup stock. And to buy this, premium wise, to buy this would be the good stuff that we've bought that's frozen runs anywhere from $11 to about $15 depending on where you buy it, for only 24 ounces of 3 cups. And this makes about 22 12-ounce servings. So basically 2 servings of what we have would be the equivalent of the really good frozen organic broth that we were buying initially before we started making it. And this has been kind of a trial and error. We started with crock pots and it just didn't make enough for all the effort and the time. And the crock pots, although may possibly be good for some things, we found that these big heavy stainless pots, which are basically like restaurant quality, institutional, if you will. Okay, so I'm going to just cut these. I'm going to cut them again and then one more time. So I'm basically quartering each of the halves. So these are basically cut in 8ths. And I will go over the recipe at the end. I apologize if anyone's writing anything. I'll try to check back. And Periscope, I wouldn't be able to see what you're writing at this point. And once we get everything in, I'll give you guys all another shot. You got a shot of just the beef bones earlier with boiling, and it's boiling quite nicely. But this will actually go on a simmer where it just basically the bubbles are breaking the surface. And I won't touch it again for 72 hours. So we'll set a timer, and then in 72 hours, we will remove the bones. And I find that by not stirring it, you actually don't get as much sediment. I can actually smell the bones already. Wow, it's hot. Whew. Getting to my eyes, guys. And you'll see this looks like quite a bit of onion, but sink is clean, so. So, you can see it's about double the amount of leeks that were cut up. Oh, God, the onions. Oh, gosh. Okay, so this is nicely boiling. Just gonna layer the onions in. And I'm just gonna move them around a little bit. And these will start cooking down. But I will do one stir of vegetables just to mix everything before the final, get it ready for the final simmer. I just think that if you stir too much during the cooking, which we did initially when we were making it, we stirred quite a bit during the first day or so, but I think that it actually causes more, I want to call it debris, to transpire from the beef bones and too much sediment. So we're going to do the same thing with celery. We're going to take 10 stalks. Let's see where we are. So we've got the beef bones, the carrots, the leeks, the onions. The next thing is garlic, but I like to do that at the end because it's so tedious. And I'm going to do 8 celery stalks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I'm just left with some parts underneath or something else. So I'm going to rinse these. And with the celery, it doesn't really matter if it's a little bit, sometimes you'll get like string when you cut it. It doesn't really matter because these are all going to be strained out. But one of the things I do find is that with celery, especially if you put it in things like, I always put it, if I'm roasting a chicken, I'll stick it inside of the chicken. Or especially with pork, it actually adds a very sweet taste to like a pork roast. I'll put it in with some carrots and onions in the roasting pan, and it adds a lot of flavor. Pork can be pretty bland, but if you're doing a pork roast with gravy, it's amazing. So anyway, just give me a second here. Not wearing the one with the pouch? Oh, because I got it on backwards. Who guessed? Just like the camera's turned around backwards, my apron is backwards. There we go. That's how tired I am this morning, because now it's 5 o'clock. I've been up since 3 o'clock. Was planning to put this on last night. It takes 72 hours to simmer, and we got caught up in something else. Okay, so we're going to cut the celery up just like everything else. I will take the ends off though, where the roots are. And usually take its top off a little bit too. And we'll cut these in big chunks as well. You probably don't even need to cut the tops and bottoms up because it's not going to be something you're going to be eating anyway. looks like it's gonna have about the amount that we saw with the leeks. And I'll also do a scope when we're ready to take it off, so you can see the different stages. So this is the celery. You can see just big hunks. Again, just gonna layer this over the top here. Everything is starting to bubble nicely. And the reason I stir it at the end is because I'll have garlic that's gonna be on top. And you can put the stuff in. Normally we put the seasoning in I think first, but just because the garlic is such a pain, I usually leave it at the end so I can start getting this stuff going. And then this stuff will actually have kind of boiled down a little bit.
Let me know if you get the door for me. And again, if you want to join us underground, the only reason we're public is because we don't have enough people during these hours, certain hours, so we go underground. But you can watch. There's just not cooking. There's everything. You don't have to go any other station. There's drama. There's everything. There's not just cooking. So go underground with us. Explain that sometime, honey. And I got. Oh, by the way, I got a camera already set up for you out there, so that we got a camera going on the sunrise right now.
Okay.
So how far are you?
Biggest problem is the garlic. I hate doing the garlic because it takes me so long.
Oh, well, I can help with that.
That's all right. I'll take care of it.
You know, you could just throw them in as is, right?
Yes, I know I can. I don't know, in my brain it seems like it would be, it just seems it would be better if they
Just
were
cut them in.
peeled.
No, cut them in quarters.
Okay,
See, it will break down.
okay. It does,
I originally, I'm the one that started doing this, and then
I
handed
did
it off
say
to
that.
you.
I did say that. So we're gonna put 6 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. Okay, I'm just using this one. I normally use the organic one, but I seem to be out.
What's that?
But I'm generous on, you know, if it runs over the top of the measuring thing, I don't worry again. I don't think my mother ever really did much as far as measuring things. She was just one of those cooks, and I turned out the same way. So this is going to be a pretty full pot. So right now I'm just working on getting the garlic. I have 8 tablespoons of peppercorns. I have these weighed out or done out. I'm just going to make sure because I need 8 tablespoons of black peppercorns. I haven't tried any others, so we'll see.
That's how much for, I'm just, it's tough. I mean, it's tough. It is tough. I mean, you gotta say, my sister did, I mean, everybody that, I'm ready to say my sister was trying to call her out more than anyone else. I'm saying that anybody that comes and goes, it's
Oh, they're pretty good. They're good, just the straight one. Well, the peppercorns are about $5. I just get them bulk. I have them. You have to get them to lay out. Yeah, move those around a bit. Now, I find it's really peppery. I don't drink it, but I find it's really peppery. So you can cut back on the amount of peppercorns you use because it does. It can be a little spicy. And the original recipe, let's see, we were 30ing it, was 2 tablespoons of peppercorns. And so that would be, if I multiply that by 3, it would be 6. And we're putting 8 in. My husband likes pepper, so we're putting in a little extra. Okay, so what's left? All right. So we've got the beef bones, about 11 pounds. I do between 11 and 12. I got about 11 and a half pounds. Preferably a mix of marrow bones with a little meat on them, and some knuckle bones. and I just buy the beef or the broth bones. And this is grass-fed beef, local. And 10 medium carrots cut into about 2-inch pieces. 4 leeks we're using. 6 medium onions. My onions were larger, so I was using 5. So we're going to do 3 heads of garlic, halved crosswise. So I'll take off the outside, just the main part. And I'm hearing Brian talk back there, that's why I'm stopping. And 8 celery sticks cut into 2-inch pieces, 16 bay leaves. And actually the recipe would call for 6. Brian always puts more. So, and he started making this himself back after we started losing weight, and in the beginning of last year he started making this. So I forget how many this has been. I'm expecting the 7th batch. And 8 tablespoons of black peppercorns. With this recipe, 6 would be what we'd be using. Brian likes it peppery. And it'd be 3 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar, but we're using 6. And it says a 6-quart or larger stock pot. So, and we're using 2 gallons of water, which doesn't say in here. And it says it yields about 8 cups of broth, but we're tripling it, so 24 cups of broth. But we're actually getting more than that. So we're getting 22 12-ounce rather than 8-ounce. So all that's left, it seems, is the garlic. So 21, 22 12-ounce bottles, if you wanted to do it in 8-ounce, you could, is about $35 to make it. But if you were to buy the equivalent, see, so 2 would be 3 cups, 10 would be 30 cups. So about 10 of those, which would be roughly between $100 and $150. So for that, I'm making it for about $35 versus $100 to $150. So it definitely is a lot cheaper. I'm doing what Brian said, just ordering it.
You gotta get more people involved with your separate course, you know?
So I'm just gonna get the major part of the shells off here.
Go ahead.
Now there is a technique to get the stuff out of here, which Brian told me about. So you put these into a stainless container and shake them, and you can get more of the husking off.
That's why you guys need to know different people in the group. And,
This is a tedious part in my mind. Now, maybe I don't need to do what I'm doing.
wow, it's already smelling good, honey.
Yep.
It's amazing how quickly that new method, I like that new method you're doing, where you heat up the water.
Yep. Because otherwise it would take probably 2 hours to get it up to temperature if you're starting with cold water.
Right.
Gosh, the stems are really hot. Trying to get the protective coat off here, even though the stuff's not going to be strained. So the part that protects the clothes stuff really sticks to you. Okay. bottom. So it says to quarter it, but I've been peeling it. Brian says I don't need to. So I'm just taking off the outer sheath. And this is, as far as I'm concerned, this is the worst part of this whole thing is the garlic, which is probably why I leave it to the end. Anyway, sorry if this is boring, guys. I always remembered growing up watching the Galloping Gourmet. I don't know if any of you guys remember that. But and when I was in Louisiana, it was Emerald, you know, the Cajun cooking guy. And I've been cooking since I was really young. My mom, I was alone with my mom for about the first 6 years. All the kids were in school, and I used to always be around her because we lived on a farm. So I was always around when my mom was cooking. So I really liked. I always liked cooking. I had a restaurant at one time. And really enjoyed that. It was a lot of work. And sold it after 4 years, just getting really burnt out. But I was doing that as well as working at my regular profession. And my husband was actually the person that ran it. But I worked there. I went there after work every day and weekends. So for 4 years, I literally worked all the time. We were hardly ever home, so my mom started looking after my dog, so we take my dog to my mom's place, my mom and dad's place, and they looked after her for about 4 years. We'd visit, but it just wasn't fair to her that we were never home, and we lived too far away. Okay, so that's 1, 2, one more. Wow, it's a lot of work. Anyway, I'm just going to get a metal bowl. Actually, you know what? I'm going to use, this is the pot that I use for warming up Brian's bone broth after we thaw it. And these pots are from West Bend, and it's actually waterless cookware. Lifetime guarantee. I'm going to use this to kind of shake the rest of the husks off of these. Once I get this last one cut. Because you're supposed to be able to do this. And it's supposed to help. You can see that some of the husks are breaking off. And it's supposed to be an easy way to get some of the major husks off. I'm not going to worry about the ones that aren't there, but I'll pick this out. And this is a messy job. If we can get the major stuff off of here. But you can put it right in, like once you break it up, you can put it right in with this stuff on. And this is supposed to help break it off. And the husks aren't going to really matter because we strain everything out anyway. I just like to have as little debris as possible in there that I have to filter. So if you look it up, there's a lot of good properties to bone broth. Like I said, you can use it for soups and stews and everything else as a starter for your crock pot and stuff if you're putting any kind of broth. So So you can see some of the husks are coming off. And I'm just going to pick out the garlic pieces. Some of these are and for those of you joining us late, we are making some beef bone broth with grass-fed beef. And we're working with the garlic right now. Again, this will all be triple strained at the end. So any of these, the stuff that's going to come off of the cloves will be strained out anyway. And we've got a good boil going, which I'm going to turn right down to my lowest setting on the stove. It's going to sit there for 3 days, 72 hours, and you'd be amazed that this pot that I'm using, it's a heavy stainless pot, which I bought at Walmart. You'd be amazed that nothing burns in the bottom. Like you would think that sitting on a burner for 3 days, something would be burning on the bottom without stirring, and it doesn't. I get about 3 little spots where, the bones may have rested, and I worried about that last time I didn't stir it, but these pots are so good, and I think this pot was like $55. And then I have a smaller one that I use when I'm straining to go back and forth with. And I wish, in hindsight, that I'd gotten another big pot like this. The difference is, I think, about $10 between the one that comes to about here, but it's too small to make the bone broth. And anyway, as Brian was saying, we do have, we do all kinds of things, but we do have an underground reality series where we film our daily life, our struggles with technology, because, we are a technological society. My husband also has autism, so, life is challenging as it is for him. And so his struggles are documented, and then I guess if you want to say my struggles are just living with someone with autism and how I've had to adjust my life to be able to fit into his, because, I say, well, you just have to adjust your surroundings, and, it's difficult for people with autism to do that. And thank you for the hearts. I don't know who's doing it. Maybe it's my husband, I don't know. Anyway, so here we are. So this is what 3 heads of garlic look like, and I know dang. This guy gets a good rinse. And so this is 3 cloves of garlic. I think it said 3 in it. 3 garlic heads. So it says that you can quarter them, but what I did is took off the major part of the shells, and so this is some of them, but most of them are still got the husk on them. But again, they'll filter out. I'm going to put those in. Ooh. Now I'm going to turn it down because it's boiling. I go all the way down to the second from my lowest setting, and then once that settles down, then I'll adjust it down again one more. So I'm just going to stir so I can get the garlic, and the onions are already starting to cook down, and celery and everything. I just want to get this garlic just kind of under the surface. But I don't want to move the bones around. Bones go in first. Okay. All right, so I'm going to do one last check to make sure I got everything. Okay, so This particular one, you do between 11 and 12 pounds. I've got 11 and a half pounds of beef bones. These are grass-fed. It's a mix of marrow bones. So I usually use the ones that are labeled for broth. They also have ones that they call dog bones, which don't have the sharp points. But I find that the ones that are specifically for broth, and believe it or not, the broth bones are actually cheaper than the dog bones. And so it's a mixture. And if you can get some oxtail, that's great. I have to know when I was doing it and order oxtail ahead. Oxtail is a little more expensive. So I've got in here 11 and a half pounds of the bones. I've got 10 medium carrots cut into 2-inch wedges. I've got 4 medium leeks cut into 2-inch pieces. I've got the equivalent of 6 medium onions, and I've just got them halved, and then the halves quarters, so into eighths. I've got 3 garlic heads. So I'm not talking about just a little garlic clove. I'm talking actually a whole head. And I use kind of the regular sized garlic, not the ginormous ones. And I've got 8 celery stalks cut into 2-inch pieces. I've got 16 bay leaves. I've got 8 tablespoons of black peppercorns and 6 tablespoons of apple cider. And I'm going to show you guys now what this looks like.
I'm putting Facebook up too because you can't see the commenting. So Facebook is better.
So first of all, this is YouTube. So this is the mixture. So that's what I've been doing. So that's all of those ingredients I listed. Now I've turned the heat down and I want it just a little bit less of a boil than that, but we'll see, and I'll adjust it. We pretty much know where our setting is. So that's going to sit there now, undisturbed, lightly boiling, and that's a little bit too much of a boil. But it's, again, I just turn it down from the higher heat for 72 hours. So we're going to start the clock. So it's roughly about 5:30 in the morning. So it'll be ready to be strained out 3 days from now. So today is what, Saturday? So Sunday, Monday, Tuesday morning.
This thing, right?
Right. And this is Periscope. So Periscope, this is what it looks like. Okay.
Yes, Tess, thank you.
And for my static video, which has been running for 1 hour and 35 minutes, this is
Looks like you're putting
we're
people's
looking at.
heads in there.
So this is going to sit now for 3 days, 72 hours. We set the timer. And then that'll get strained, and then it'll go for several hours in the refrigerator, or sorry, freezer. And,
And Facebook, honey, don't, Lisa's your Facebook now.
okay, Facebook. All right, Facebook, we're making beef bone broth, and it just started, and thank you, Rhonda, for joining us. We'll go over the recipe again for Facebook. That's all the ingredients. This is a very large cooking pot, stainless steel, heavy duty, like a commercial. And so we'll go over what's in there. This is going to simmer for 72 hours. And then normally what we would do is we take it off at night, but because I'm making it earlier in the day, it comes off, and then it usually goes in the freezer overnight. And then we'll get a very thick layer of fat. And I look atrocious, I'm sorry. I literally jumped out of bed because I was supposed to put this on last night. And it'll sit until the fat rises to the top, and then we'll skim the fat off, and then just reheat the broth enough to bottle it. And then we bottle in these larger mason jars, not the big ones. You can use the big ones if you have more. You can use this broth for a stock, and like if you're making a stew or something. I make it for Brian because Brian drinks it straight from we take it and we freeze these once they're canned, and we do 12 ounces versus 8, and he drinks the whole thing. So we would heat it up in this stainless steel pot, and they say do not microwave it because you'll lose some of the properties. And so we'll just put it in some cold water to thaw enough to get it out, and then we'll heat it up to just boiling, not a raging boil, but just a light boil. And then we pour it into a bowl. We would also put for that one serving, we would put, because there's no salt in here, you notice, and we would put just some natural sea salt, about 1/8 of a teaspoon. And Tess says, I have not bumped into you. Oh, talking for Rhonda. Hope you're feeling well. So anyway, I'm just going to run by for, because Facebook over here, so we've got Periscope, YouTube, we've got a static video, and we've got Facebook. I'm sorry about this. There was something up here. We removed it to put the stove in, so it never got kind of refixed. So you're seeing all that glue and stuff there. Brian says, great job, Brian, first Facebook, because messages stay up and can be seen by the person making the video. All right, so right now there's 2 showing on YouTube. We've got 5 showing on Periscope. I've got my static video, or just the in-house video, running, which has been running for about 1 hour and 40 minutes, because it started when I got up. So we were actually 2 hours. Well, that's interesting. Oh, I know. The reason that it's only 1 hour and 40 minutes is because Brian did a messenger call and it shut down my video. So YouTube is probably about the closest. So I've actually been up since 3 o'clock. This is 5:30. So it's 2 hours. And let's see. Trying to see what the Facebook is only 5 minutes, so you guys missed. So I'm just going to run over the recipe one more time, and then I'll clean up my mess and make some coffee. And so, and this is one that was been kind of trial and error. So today we've got 11.5 pounds of beef bones and 2 gallons of water. Now, I've used this in the past. I actually used filtered water today. I didn't have time to make a second stop to get the water. So generally I use spring water, 2 gallons. And what I do is I actually boil it first. I have this Hamilton Beach that actually, has a little thing and a pad it sits on, and it boils. So it usually takes me about 4 to 5 pots of water to get the 2 gallons done. And then I put it in. So I'm starting with boiling water. So I have the beef bones in there, and they're grass fed, so hormone free. So I'll put the first container of boiling water in, and then I'll start putting the beef bones. So the beef bones that I get come in. And I actually had to get, I think I got 9 different ones, because they only come anywhere from a pound to pound and a half, roughly. So this is Sunny Farms, and it's natural beef, and it's one of the farms that they use. And then they will cut the bones up, and once they cut the meat off the bones, and these bones then go and be packaged for that. So there's 9 containers here. Works out to about 11.5 pounds today. So we got the 11 pounds of bones, the boiling water, 2 gallons, and then I put in 10 medium carrots, unpeeled, so I just wash them. I use a brush. This brush actually has a little bit of a metal, so it's almost like scraping. So it gets all the dirt off. So 10 carrots cut in about 2-inch wedges, and if you go back and watch any of these videos, you'll see how I cut them. And I use 4 medium leeks, and I peel off the first 2 layers, make sure I wash them really well, because any dirt tends to get in that first layer that's kind of opened a bit, first 2 layers. And I cut those as well. I take the bottom root part off, just trim it. And you could probably put that into it, probably doesn't matter, but if there's any dirt in there, it may end up as grit at the bottom, and that won't filter out too well. And I don't use special filters. I just use large open hole strainers, and then I use a finer basket strainer to get the remainder at the end. So I pull things out first with tongs, and then I get the smaller stuff, and I just keep ladling it out, pouring it over and pouring it over. And so we've got the 11.5 pounds of bones, which you can use 11 pounds. 10 medium carrots cut in 2-inch pieces after they're washed, so you don't peel them because most of the good stuff is in the peel. 4 leeks, I trim off the first 2 layers and cut in 2-inch pieces. I've got 6 medium onions, and it says quarter, I quarter, and then I quarter again, if you will. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I got 8 pieces because I half it, then I quarter the halves. I didn't hear what somebody said. And then I have 3 garlic heads, and I don't mean just cloves, like an actual full head of garlic. So we got 3 of those. I'm throwing stuff on the floor. 8 celery stalks, again, washed and cut into, and someone's writing over here. Tess, okay. Thank you to Tom and Tess who were on YouTube videos seeing the sunrise this morning. And you know you can scroll back on comments now. Oh, thank you. Hey, Laura. Scroll back on comments. Oh, I don't see it on my phone. Anyway. And then I've got 16 bay leaves, and I just buy the bay leaves in bulk. Fresh, usually from the store. 8 tablespoons of black peppercorns. Now, really, this recipe would only call for about 3, based on the original recipe, because we triple it. But if you want to, you can use the 6 tablespoons of black peppercorns. We use 8. Brian likes the pepper. And then 6 tablespoons of cider vinegar, and with the recipe, technically 3, but cider vinegar has such good properties, and I think it helps to actually cleanse the bones better. And we're using, I believe this is, what, a 12 or 16 quart pot?
22.
22 quart? Yeah, I think it's about a 22 quart. Our other one's a lot smaller. I think it's like an 18 or something.
Well, what is 2 gallons? I mean, those big
Well,
things.
2 gallons is 128 times 2. Have to work it back. But anyway, you can see that it's a good sized pot. And then we're gonna.
That was another good idea you had that came up, was doing the bottled water.
Yeah.
That was a good, having all the
Well,
water
it
already
was
purified.
easier. Yeah. So anyway, this is going to sit on a very low simmer for the next 72 hours. And then from there, it'll be strained. We'll get out the big stuff, and then I'll strain the rest. We do about 3 different strainings. And then it'll go back into the smaller pot, because I won't have all the bones and stuff, because right now the level's about to here. And then we'll put it in the freezer for, usually we do it overnight, and since this is being cooked so early in the morning, probably it'll go in and be bottled later that day. Once the fat has risen to the top, we take the fat off. It makes a great frying fat. It has a higher flash point for properties. So if you're doing anything like French fries, you'll get a really quick browning on them. So you have to be careful, because if you're using like frozen fries or something like that, they'll brown really quickly. So it just cooks at a hotter temperature, so you'll get a much better fry. And with the fat that comes off of here, and with all the pepper in there, it actually does have a bit of a snap to it. It's a little spicy. And if you don't like pepper, then you can cut back on your pepper. But you'll notice there's no salt in here. No salt. So I'm just going to read the ingredients one more
Which
time.
I like to add at the when I do it.
So that's what I said. When Brian heats up the bone broth, and again, don't ever heat it up in the microwave, okay? Because it's all over the web that it damages the properties of the bone broth. So it's good for collagen, good for skin, good for nails. So I'm just going to read this back one more time. This is grass-fed beef bone broth. You can use it as a stock. We use it Brian just drinks it as it is. We bottle it in 12-ounce bottles, freeze it. And so we have in here today, we've got 11.5 pounds of the grass-fed beef bones with some mix of marrow, 10 medium onions, 4 medium leeks, 6 medium onions, 8 celery stalks, 16 bay leaves, 8 tablespoons of black peppercorns, and 6 tablespoons of cider vinegar. So that's our base recipe. If you don't like pepper, cut back on it. Don't eliminate it. you can cut back to like 5 or 6 tablespoons. We were actually up at one time quite a bit. I don't know, like 10 or 12 tablespoons, but it was really quite hot. Pepper can be hot. And these are just regular black peppercorns, nothing fancy about them. And that's it. So it's going to sit here now, and it's going to simmer on a very low boil for 72 hours. Now that everything is in there, I did a brief stir at the end just to kind of move the peppercorns and the garlic and everything so that it will start to settle down. And the vegetables are already starting to cook. And so 72 hours, we'll filter, and then we'll cool it, we'll get the fat off, and then we'll start bottling it. And this will give us about 21 to 22 12-ounce jars. And that'll last us for a couple of months. Brian, sometimes, depending on how he's feeling, he might have several in a week, and sometimes maybe one a week. So the plan was to make it about every month or 6 weeks, and we just pulled the last bone broth out. I'll show you what it looks like. And this one's not quite thawed yet. So you can thaw it in the fridge, or you can thaw it in cold water. And so this is what it looks like. It's very, very dark. And this method I'm using now, the last 2 batches, Brian said, has been amazing. So it'd be nice if we could keep this and Brian could test the new batch.
Oh, good idea. I didn't think, yeah.
This is still frozen,
Always
so.
say the last one. For,
Yeah, and last time we didn't have one to test.
Craving.
Yeah, and so usually when the bone broth is off and ready to be bottled, Brian will have the first one. And so we didn't have an extra one to compare it to, but the last 2 batches we've done, and in fact this last batch has been the best, he said. All right, so Tom's over here on, I believe this is Facebook. And so anyway, that's what we wanted to share with you today. And we also have a reality series. My husband has autism, and we have a lot of challenges. We're writing a book called The Book of Links. And we have an underground group, and the reason we're underground is because with my husband's autism, he had a lot of people trolling him last year, and it got really bad. My husband was having, and we call them storms, challenges, outbursts, whatever you want to call it. Some people call them temper tantrums, but you know, I guess temper tantrums are frustration, and not necessarily that you know you want to get your own way or something. So my husband does have those challenges when people start doing things that he can't understand and tries to analyze people's behavior. He gets like really bad storms, you know, yelling, screaming, breaking things. So we decided to go underground just to make it a safer environment. So the people that come down are good people. We have a subscription service, and that kind of gets rid of the bots and people that just want to troll him by coming underground. So people tend to be vetted, and I say vetted meaning the other people that are underground with us will actually check them out. So our people are kind of out there watching out on people, and so they'll catch you in other people's broadcasts if you're trashing us or you're refilming some of our stuff, which does happen. I think someone yesterday, was it yesterday? It was on one of the videos that someone said, "Oh, Brian, someone's actually filming you live and talking over." So they were doing a broadcast within his broadcast. And a lot of it's very hateful. So yeah, Brian has challenges, and yes, Brian ticks a lot of people off because of his challenges, and he can get pretty verbose and pretty ugly, I guess is the word. But unfortunately, that's not something that's it's not gonna change. So anyway, we're gonna close out some of these, I believe.
You hope.
I've got 4 videos running here.
We've got 6 videos running at the house right now. 6.
Yeah.
There's one there. There's one on us at all time, not all times, but there was one on each one of us because we're filming to write a book on underground reality.
Yeah, reality and living with autism and the challenges with technology. And believe me, if there's a problem with technology, this man's gonna find it.
And unfortunately, it's a magnet to me. But we encourage you to come underground. It's $30 whatever.
Yeah, it's $32.13 for the first month, and then $20 a month thereafter. We do have season rates and things, but right now we're getting close to the end of our season, the end of June.
Mid season.
Well, we're mid season right now, but
The
But-
idea is that we're above ground, and then it helps pay for a future platform, basically.
Right, and also we obviously generate a lot of data, and we want to protect our data, so we have to buy data drives, we buy 8 terabyte drives, and they last, what? We do about 4
Well,
months,
they used to last me a
quarter.
season.
a quarter, or season.
Right.
But now, with all the extra content, because I'm filming too, he's filming, so we're writing the book of links, we're trying to build a community, we're trying to set in motion.
Actually, I'm not trying to build a community anymore because I gave up on that, but it's naturally occurring somewhat.
Anyway,
Honey, why do you keep ignoring me?
because I'm tired. I've been up for almost 3 hours
Okay.
cooking in the middle of the night.
But when you disregard me in all the chats, that's what you'll get here. You won't get just a cooking. This isn't a cooking channel. This is reality.
Yeah, this is a once in a quarter, once in a couple of months. I filmed the making of the.
But when
the
you're
bone
paying
broth
attention
before.
to them more than me, it bothers me.
I didn't even see you. Over here?
You would just disregard my comment, basically.
I read it.
Yeah, you read it monotonely. And if
This
you want
is
to
funny.
know, if you want to know,
This is funny because, Brian, I can be on a broadcast away from home, and I'm trying to tell him something. It'll take me 30 minutes saying it over and over and over again before he finally sees it, because it's what he needed to get past whatever he was doing. And it's like, hello, and I'm here screaming in the house saying, Brian!
and because it doesn't show replay, you got to say, no, there might be duplications here. There's 3 on, and then name it. There's 4 on whatever, Periscope. That's Periscope. And then there's obviously no there, and then there's 4 there. So there's probably duplication. 4
Yeah.
on. There's probably 4 people.
So there's
maybe.
3 on YouTube, which is my channel. We've got on Periscope on Brian's channel, Burning Bushel, which is what we're called. This is our dyad, if you will, Burning Bushel. And we've got 3 on there right now. We've got 1 static video running on my camera, which will end up being uploaded as Solar Substance. And then we've got, Brian has me on Facebook over here, and we've got 4 people on there.
And during shift change, we were supposed to shut everything down and regroup and then reposition cameras and then restart another shift and decide what we're going to do during the next shift. So, anyway, if you want to know what happened this morning, if you're already part of the network, you'll soon know how bad this morning really was before we went live. And and you can see, if you see what happens, you'll understand why you have to pay to see that kind of stuff. Because we got to make sure that people aren't going to troll us underground. But anyway, so yeah. But what we'd like to do is try to keep it going. Probably, actually, it's 12 minutes before whatever. Usually in an hour, a
12 minutes
hour,
before 6.
the hour we're supposed to be able to have a break for 12 minutes if that ever
I need
exists.
to make coffee.
And so.
And halfway through, I realized I was looking for my pocket. I realized I had my apron on backwards.
Nice. So what I can do, she's gonna make coffee. So join us underground. We'll be underground having coffee together. Probably that. We want to do more things for the people that are with us. And unfortunately, we're going public. So anyway, maybe we could start talking. Actually, I'll say it here because I'll forget to say it. We'll move you out front, and then where we move out front. We want to stay underground more with our small little group, but unfortunately, sometimes they're too active. The people who are paying for it are usually the ones working, so that's the problem. So then there's no people. So the only reason we're going public is because there's not enough viewership underground during those hours or whatever else, or the group is dispersed during that time. And but we would prefer to be completely underground and you not ever see us unless we're campaigning or something like that. So.
Trying to find people to cover all shifts.
I'm sorry. And then we're talking to people. What's that again, Tess?
I think we're trying to find people to cover all shifts throughout the day. Someone's available throughout the day.
Right, because the main purpose is trying to write this book of links and everything. So, anyway, so go ahead and let's move you over to. Trudy can take her static camera. Can you take both of our static cameras and we'll just position outside just so you can see. And then we'll shut them all down outside. because, oh, that's right. So, and Brian has to take pictures and vlog everything. Because what we're trying to do is we're giving a blueprint to build a more perfect platform for a future generation. And actually, I like having, so this is 4.
And I didn't get any pictures of what I was making because I had no cameras. So I have to get pictures of just.
Imagine not having any cameras. Well, you'll get it afterwards. So let's do this. So if you want to see what we're doing here, if you're in date 131, and if you're here, we'd like to start adding you to the day when, if you're active. So whoever's active in our group underground, I know Tom was, so I'll add Tom.
Tom, Rhonda, Tess, Laura.
Tess, Laura, Tom. Who else is here? Tess, Laura, Tom. Tess, Laura, Tom. Tess, Laura. Tess, Laura, Tom.
Tom, Rhonda.
Oh, Rhonda was here?
Yeah.
Rhonda.
I was on Facebook.
Okay. So I guess those are all the only 4. That's probably the only 4 people that are here. Okay, so basically I've just added you to the day thread. Do we have all that in the... Oh, and then I never shared the Facebook one today. So I have to do Facebook. Trudy. This is... And the more people we have to help with these things, it's better. Oh, did you share that, Tess? The Facebook one? Tess? Tess?
Yes, sorry, I was on mute. Sorry, yes, I did. I shared it in Center Point earlier.
Okay, Center Port Underground. Oh, that's right. There you go. Okay. So, there we go. Okay. And again, this just takes a little more coordination and everything like that. So we have we're on day 132. So we started with Burning Bushel, we did YouTube, and then we did another YouTube. How do we have 2 YouTubes?
Mine.
Oh, Trudy's and mine is looking at the sunrise. So if you go in the page, you can see how the day started by 4 different perspectives. And sometimes we're practicing because there'll be 4 different positions and everything. So anyway, let's move you out. Let's why don't you move that, and I'll actually take these 2, and I'll take them out there.
Who am I taking?
You're gonna take these 2 static videos.
The statics. Okay.
And I don't know, you guys have another, no, static. Oh, is that static?
Static. Gee, bro.
Well, no, I was looking at this one.
I know.
So, okay, so then Brian takes like a platter of food here. Oh, wait, before I do that, that's right. Brian has to show you what it's like, okay? I'm sorry. He's doing this just for the book, okay?
Rhonda's giving you plenty of love.
Well, I guess it's not meant to be. Anyway, normally I'll share a thing on my head because I want to share all the different views, and but normally that's a lot of underground stuff. But anyway, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work because we're tracking all these platforms and we're tracking how they're used and how they're comparison, and so it's a lot of work. So anyway, I gotta slide you through here. Oh, let me show you this. Look at this, guys. Okay, so when I'm on the elliptical, I can see all you guys. There's sunrise. I can see, but this is not just security. This is, and then how slow this one is. Now, what I noticed is, Opera browser is the much better browser to filming. What do you call it? Filming YouTube, and notice how YouTube's crystal clear. Periscope's kind of grainy. This is the sunrise.
This is actually Facebook.
This is Facebook, right? But it's using Opera as the browser.
Okay.
And so we've been testing all these different things here, and we've got 4 here, but it's hard to read, and we're comparing Periscope with YouTube and the different browsers. Eventually, we'll maybe do 4 of them. and then I'm recording this upstairs so the book has reference. So when we say something, we actually have a link to
So
show you
You're
that it,
casting your computer screen here. Is that right?
exactly, I'm casting my computer screen here. And so, yeah, so, but we're tracking a lot of this because it's too much. And then we create, in the book, it's supposed to, we create a link. We create a link to, of course, it takes so many man hours, it's more man hours than we have. But so we first have to put these links in there, in the book, okay, the books. And then we have to reference, like, Periscope did this, YouTube did it, and then we have to reference key points in those videos or whatever else. It's a lot of work. Believe me, it's a lot of work. Like chat, you can't see chat because of this, and you can't. What's better for this? Facebook's best in this because it rises up to the top, or chat only goes so far, or this one disappears. Just a lot of, and we're doing this because we're writing a book for a future generation, so they have the material. If we could have the next generation build us a platform, we would want this, we would want this, we would want this, we would want this. And the only reason we know what we want and what we don't want is because we're using everything that's out there that we can find. So,
Okay.
anyway, I can't even figure out how to mute some of these things. It's so complicated. And when I'm filming this, I have to anyway. So let's go ahead. So we're going to go underground now and take you outside. And then when shift change stops, we shut off all the videos. So what we do is we do this.
I just have those two statics pointed at the sunrise.
No problem. And we end you with the sunrise here. Now you've got camera here. Whoops, I got to turn you around. Okay, here they do. So here we go. It takes a lot to test. And people wonder, well, why do you need that? Because we're testing. We're testing a lot all the time. Okay, here we go. Now, we're going to turn you all around. It's not a great sunrise, but it's something. Okay.
Turn it a little bit to the left just so that you can get a bit more of the tree and a little bit of golden here.
Okay, and then I upload this and kind of track, and we help write about the book. So anyway, so I guess good night, good luck, and something.
Check back in 3 days for the bone broth.
The best cat darn it. I'm just keep this yours. And okay, good night.
Good morning.